Okay, so we're just going to do a quick fat cat pick, which is basically all the elements you need for your introduction. So looking at this sheet, which is on your OneNote or available below this video. Firstly, we'll look for form. So for this, we're kind of flipping through the article and we're looking for it to say a word like editorial, comment, blog, opinion, something like that. This one doesn't have anything in particular. So when in doubt, we're just going to say that it's an opinion piece, which is usually 99% of the time, you'll be looking at an opinion piece. So that's our F. Flipping over to here, the A for us is author. So who wrote the piece? And for that, we're looking near the top. And so we've got Rob Stott as our author for this piece. Third one, is the title. So for title, we're looking at the top here again. The hill I will die on. You're not cool for hating Halloween. So we'll highlight that as our kind of core, one of our core elements. So the title is the hill. We won't write the whole thing, but for your essay or your language analysis piece, you'll write the whole thing out. The third is the contention. So this is where it gets more complicated and we'll have to read through the piece in short. But looking just at the title is usually close enough is good enough. So we'll start by saying that the contention is that you're not cool for hating Halloween. So we'll call that there. That's our contention. Argument. So for this, we're going to have to do a bit more of a detailed. So let's just read through it quickly. Please tell me more about how you hate Halloween. Tell me more about how it's an American thing and you're sick of Australians adopting American culture. Tell me more about how you didn't celebrate it when you were a kid and therefore it shouldn't be celebrated by anyone. Tell me more about how you hate fun, you sad person. So let's call that, as we read, we'll write some techniques, I guess, as we go. So we'll call that emotive language. Which I ran, strangely gave 2 G's. At around this time every year, some boomer or Gen Xer will take to the pages of legacy media publication to proudly declare that Halloween is very, very bad. So we'll call that repetition. This year, the duty fell to Nicola Phillips for Fairfax. So let's call that, I don't know, expert opinion, I guess. Imagine they're an expert on something. Don't come trick-or-treating at my house, I won't answer the door, was the headline of the piece that outlined the author's gripes with the celebration. So it's making sense so far. So it's in response to another article. I detest Halloween, I loathe it, Philip wrote. Huge numbers of kids now believe it's part of the everyday, regular Australian celebrations and participate in trick-or-treating, she wrote, presumably typing with one hand while her other hand was busy clutching some pearls. So busy clutching some pearls is sort of a reference to, I don't know, fearing robbery or something. So kind of, and also suggests that the person is rich and well off. Meanwhile, I shut my gates, lower the blinds and breathe my way through the whole debacle, breathing for myself and for the planet as she groans through yet another wave of disposable plastic crap. So let's call that, I don't know, emotive language again, but we can probably come up with a better label for that later, but that's obviously something very strong. Nicola must be fun at parties. So that's an easy, just simply an attack. All right. As Halloween's popularity has grown in Australia over the last decade or so a much more sinister community has popped up in parallel, the self-identified Halloween hater. So that's what we call alliteration, which is the same sound repeated, the HH. Their costume is disgust and contempt, and they wear it as a badge of honour. So we'll come back and decide what we'll call those later, but that's something juicy. They proudly let us all know that Halloween is beneath them, as though we're all supposed to admire them for their brave stance against harmless fun. Here's a reminder, the other option when you don't like something is just to shut up about it. Alright, yesterday I tweeted that hating on Halloween doesn't make you cool or edgy. For the last 24 hours I've been inundated with responses, mostly from boomers. So again, that's a label of something that she doesn't like for sure. Telling me why it's okay to hate Halloween. Their arguments basically boil down to 3 things. Halloween is an American thing, I didn't celebrate it when I was a kid, and it's so commercial. So let's break those down. So at this point we can probably stop and understand that those are the three arguments that the author, he is going through. So American thing I didn't celebrate when I was a kid, and it's so commercial. So we'll go back to the start. Those are our three arguments. Commercial, American, and another one which I've completely forgotten having turned the page back. Commercial, American, didn't celebrate. So those are our three arguments. This will be the hardest one to find, of course, because you're going through and quite meticulously trying to work out what they're saying. Tone. For the tone, I don't know, we'll probably say you sort of have to think about the overall piece and the way that it sounds. Like if you were to read it out loud in the tone that the author wrote it in, what would it sound like? So I'm going to say, I don't know, exaggerated maybe, because there's a lot of exclamation marks. Offensive, I guess, because there's a lot of insults thrown in there. And a third word would be, let's see, the tone is definitely a little bit childish as well, so maybe we'll do that, like, you know, blah, 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 whatever. That's not really something that an expert or an authority would write. So let's say childish. Publication, again, for that would be flipping through and looking for it. But since it's a response to the other article, which I remember reading was in The Age, we're just going to say that it was in The Age newspaper. But usually your articles will tell you where they're from quite clearly. Image, so that's our image there. So we'll discuss what it is. I guess it's a title and a pumpkin. And then context is everything we can work out from the context. So we know it's 30th of October, so we know that it's near the time of Halloween. And that's probably all the context we need to know, Halloween and Australia. And then so this is our list of all of the sort of core components of this article. And then if we look at this worksheet, if we can tick off all of these, which we have reasonably well, then we can fill in this sort of fill in the close activity, fill in the blanks. And that is in essence our introduction. So it covers off all the things that we need to cover. And the only thing we didn't do very well was the arguments, but we could probably do that a little bit better if I read the article a bit more closely. But this is the structure that would give you a really clear introduction, and then there's videos on how to make a body paragraph, a conclusion, and so forth on a language analysis.